We are now joined by Aditya Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh is president of IndiGo Airlines. Thank you for granting us some of your time, Mr. Ghosh. With IndiGo Airlines, you had the courage to start a low-budget airline in India. Considering the fact that the airline business is highly competitive and highly regulated, as well as notorious for being unprofitable, what motivated you to take this risk?
Patrick, that's true that most airlines around the world actually don't make money. But having said that, when we started, there was this massive gap in the budget travel side. Even today, we're a country of 1 billion people. We have less than 400 commercial planes in the country, right? So a country like the United States has one commercial plane for every 50,000 Americans. We have one commercial plane for every 3 million Indians, right? So the gap was there, So, and also the way the passenger traffic was growing, even in the last 5 years, 6 years. As a CAGR, passenger traffic has grown by 10%. Capacity has not caught up. So which basically means the demand-supply gap has actually been increasing, which in any business is a great idea. You want to fill that gap that exists. So, so I think in terms of the budget travel piece itself, there was a big gap. Why low cost? Because India is an emerging economy, a growth opportunity, and like many other businesses, whether it is consumer goods or airlines, when you drop the price point, you suddenly expand the market and you suddenly start going to consumers that you did not have access to earlier. And therefore, many, many more people start flying. Now comes to making money. Now, making money in any business is really as simple as keeping your costs lower than your revenue. And that's where I think if you run a business seriously and you really concentrate on the costs and keeping that low, because the revenue side is the price side, which is market driven. So you've got to focus on that. And if you run a business seriously, then you have a fighting chance of making money, and which we do. This is our 5th year of profitability in a row. So our bet has gone in the right direction. We chose the right business because there was a huge demand-supply gap. We chose the right model because low-cost airlines around the world do better than full-service airlines. And we make money because we're serious about this business. We came in to actually run a good business rather than being just somebody's whims and fancy.
Thank you. After the riots induced by the rape and sexual harassment of women in India, you started a girl power initiative at your company. Would you explain the idea behind this initiative and what impact do you think it will have on the perception of women in India?
When this thing happened in December, I think everybody in India, most people in India were just, there was a lot of anguish. And I've grown up in Delhi, right? So I could just feel it. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of anguish. And I think 2 days later, I got up early in the morning, and then I had an email from a colleague of mine, a male colleague of mine. And he had written this email at about 1:30 in the morning. And he was like, Aditya, I just can't go to sleep. I've been watching this thing on the news. But the thing is, corporate India doesn't do anything. They all talk big, but when there is a challenge, or especially when there is a social challenge, they just kind of go back into their holes and then don't do anything about it. So can we not, as IndiGo, we're just different, we're a young airline. And by the way, 40% of IndiGo is women. A third of our leadership team is women. So he says, can't we not do something about it? So I started thinking about it, and then this idea came up that, why don't we, at least as a first step, just raise our voice in protest. And do it in our quiet way. We didn't want to make this into some kind of a marketing strategy or some kind of a branding exercise. So we came up with these badges: black for protest, and girl power for solidarity. And girl versus woman, because it's usually the young who do not get the voice, right? And this girl who got raped, she was 19 years old. She was 20 years old, right? She was a student. So we started with this thing, and since then, all 7,100 of us wear it every day, right? Our uniforms everywhere. Then all of us got together, the employees got together, and we collected about $50,000 and gave it to the girl's family, right? To just rehabilitate them. I know money cannot buy these things or cannot give comfort, but it is at least something, right? But then that led us to a deeper issue of, we as an organization and as a successful organization, right, and an organization which is so customer facing, there is so much attention on us, there's so much media attention on us. If we do something as simple as this, it at least keeps a debate going. It at least goes to show that we are willing to stand up, right? But that's not something new. As I said, a third of our leadership team is women. 40% of IndiGo is women. I remember 7 years ago, when we started, we were the first airline in India to bring in women to come and work on the ramp, right? And I'll tell you an interesting, funny story. So a month before we were about to start, we get this, all the uniforms have come in, and we come up with an interesting challenge. The shoes don't arrive for the girls. So I'm wondering what happened. So ramp shoes have to have this metal casing above the toes. Nobody makes ramp shoes for women in India. So we take this battle up and we start doing something about it, right? So that's something, I guess it's become a way of life for us. And at the same time, I must say that it has to be done quietly and seriously. If you mistake corporate social responsibility, if you mistake your impact on the environment, or women, or any of the issues that you take up, social issues that you take up, if you mistake them to be a marketing gimmick, it's going to die. If it comes from within you, then it's going to live, and people are going to be participating in it. So that was the kind of story behind that, actually.
Thank you. Coming to the final question and sticking with the topic, the riot also triggered a public debate about the courage of the young people in India after people just stood by watching a woman being raped. Does India lack civil courage?
I think India is very fatalistic. And when you're a civilization which is 5,000 years old, you start accepting a lot of things, right? And you're taught that, if you're a big, strong tree and there's a wind, you'll fall over. But if you're a flexible tree, then you come right back up. But having said that, we're also a country which went through 400, 500 years of colonial rule, which was oppressed. So it's only in the last 60, 70 years that, we've started, asserting our independence and asserting our own culture. And I think that is now coming into the new generation as well, which is willing to stand up, which is willing to risk what is the convention. And so I have a lot of hope for India. And I think that's courage in terms of businesses and courage in terms of people. And I'm actually probably more of an optimist, so I have a lot of hope.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Thank you for the interview and enjoy your time at the St. Gallen Symposium.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.